What's happening, folks? Back with another Cure Thursday as we continue through the top 1984. Thank you once again to Phil for providing these deluxe editions, even if for the time being we're just going through the albums proper. And the next tune in the playlist is The Empty World, which thematically feels very on brand. Not to say that every Cure song I've heard has a dark underbelly or is heavy in its thematic exploration. Obviously, there's been a few that are more eccentric or even light, but many of the songs, certainly on the previous two proper albums before this, were heavy and dark and conflicted in their narrative, in their thematic exploration, in their mood or attitude. So in that regard, this feels very much in Cure territory, but of course it might not be as heavy and dark as it sounds. But to speak to an empty world would suggest there is not feeling, there is not activity, there is not energy, there is not substance. It could be multiple dimensions in that regard, but even if it's just one of those, it suggests an absence, meaning something isn't empty if it's expected to be barren or without substance. So if something is being described in that way, there is a lack of, a dearth of some type of phenomena or entity that might otherwise be there. So yes, it sounds like we're heading in a darker direction. I'll see what I can catch on the first listen. This is The Cure. The track is The Empty World, and it's from their 1984 album, The Top. Wow. So, number one, we have Robert singing more in his typical vein or a less eccentric manner. Number two, I think I heard most of the words there. Certainly the sonic atmosphere sets the stage perfectly. I already had a sense that we were marching in a military manner with, the drummer keeping time for the march and giving us a sense of the importance and the fighting that is at hand. Now, it seems, number one, when the lyrics started, we made a reference to like toy soldiers, I think, the size of nails. So I'm like, okay, suddenly the scale of this sounds a bit different. and then we have the fife, sort of, again, imploring the soldiers onward, but then suddenly we get a sense that this is an internal battle, and these armies are marching in this girl's mind, and maybe the empty world is her mind, the sort of, what's the right word? The environment for this fighting and these battles is a mind that has a dearth of substance, so a more dire situation maybe, but one that is not as external as I thought. But then we get reference, what was it, like swaying in the winter breeze, or like winter trees, I think. So yeah, I feel like there is some metaphor at play, and then what was it, like her eyes, like, I forget exactly what it was, but like piercing, not bullets, it was something else, something like that. So it sounds, and like how proud she was, how excited she was for this to be taking place. So I feel like I heard most of the lines, even if in this outro I failed to recall them verbatim. But even if there's metaphor at play, I don't quite know how it all comes together, because in this empty world seems an odd juxtaposition with being proud of the fighting that's taking place. So yeah, I don't quite know how to take it all, but it sounds like an internal battle, and one that is maybe reflective of the intense mental state of this individual, but it's being referenced by a third party, or by the narrator, by someone who is external to these marching armies, but we're also making reference to them like they're toy-sized, and ultimately, yes, I don't know how to stitch it all together, but it's an interesting tune, certainly a shorter one. I feel like that was only a couple minutes long. Yeah, not 3 minutes, so yes, an intense tune in terms of the sonics really giving you this marching in time and in line, soldiering type of atmosphere, though it does seem like that's taking place internally, but also maybe manifesting outwardly from the perspective of this other individual. So yes, I enjoyed Robert's vocals. Not that I didn't enjoy them on the previous couple tracks, but they were a bit jarring, or outside the lines, whereas this feels more like the Robert Smith vocals I've come to know, and more in his wheelhouse vocally. So yes, ultimately I'm very curious to hear people's interpretations of this one, and I do wonder what the source material or the essence of the person being referenced is. So I look forward to people's comments. Do let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.